So I just ended up in the Czech Republic in an area called South Moravia. I did not count on that. I'm actually on my way to Slovenia to do some landscape photography and meet up with my good friend and colleague Sam Slikuna, who I'm running my Tuscany and Dolomites workshops with. And maybe, hopefully, next year, Slovenia. But you will have to sign up for my newsletter to know more about that. However, driving all the way to Slovenia from Denmark in one go is a little bit rough. And since South Moravia here is on the way anyway, why not stop here and do some landscape photography? And on this trip, I'm actually joined by my sister, who wanted some quality time with her big brother. And of course, also a little bit of vacation. Say hi, Malou.
Hi.
What South Moravia is known for are these beautiful, long and quite big hills, as you can see here. It's a little bit like Tuscany. So it does require like a long lens. Right now I'm shooting all the way out at 400mm and I'm photographing this row of trees right here. And there are like some rolling hills and fields here in the background. Now it is autumn, and from what I know, these trees here are chestnut trees. And I can see that the leaves have turned orange, which is perfect because I sadly have no light whatsoever, at least not yet. We have a little bit too many clouds. Hopefully the sun can shine through at some point. However, if it does not, then I at the very least know that I can make some color separation between the green fields and the orange leaved trees. So as I mentioned, I'm all the way out at 400mm. I am going to crop the photo ever so slightly to get rid of some of the trees that are just poking up in the bottom and also the sky. But besides that, it's fairly simple. Straight on, f13, ISO 100, aperture priority, because I don't need to think about the shutter speed here. So we've been driving around in southern Czech like most of the day here, and it is just such a beautiful landscape. It is very Tuscan for a reason. They call it the Czech Tuscan. And it makes good sense because it is very beautiful. So many minimalist photos that you can get here. And as you know, I just love those minimalist scenes. You can use the fields with lines and you can use the power lines also on the fields, and yeah, very beautiful. And obviously, if you want to learn much more about composition in landscape photography, be sure to get my 2 ebooks. They have minimal text, loads of photos, so we get to the point fast. And I cover all the basics of composition in hopefully a very simple to understand way. Even if you're not the strongest for English, you should be able to get most of what's being said in those ebooks. There are links to both of them down in the description of the video. So we have come to what I perceive to be probably the most famous photo in all of Czech for landscape photography at the very least. It goes by many names, but I think the main one is called Green Tsunami. And that makes good sense because I'm photographing this row of trees here, and then there are some beautiful rolling hills in the background. It does not make any sense almost looking at it on my DJI Osmo, so I put on the long lens and I am just out at above 200mm right here. So what I think makes this so special is that when you can get the background field in shadow and then get a couple of rolling hills in front but behind the trees in the light, then it just looks really, really awesome. Now, admittedly, it is the completely wrong time of year that I'm here because it's autumn and the fields doesn't really look that interesting. Sadly, this is a spring photo. You want to photograph here when the fields are full of probably wheat or barley or whatever they have as their grains down here. So a bit of time has passed, and the one thing that I didn't want to happen has of course happened. We have had clear blue sky and hot light the entire day, and as soon as I need it, as soon as the sun is in the right position, clouds come in and cover it up. And yes, I can kind of see the sun through the clouds, but it is not strong enough whatsoever to cast that hard, strong light into the scene that I need. Oh, that's also landscape photography for you. And especially landscape photography when you're on a photo tour and you only have like one chance to get the shot. So yeah, I got a little bit of sun before, but I don't think it's enough to make this photo really shine. Also, it's at the wrong time of year anyway, so I don't know. I should get down here in spring, but it's so annoying, like so annoying. Typical. Oh yeah. I'll give it a bit more time, but it does not look good. It doesn't look good on the forecast either. So yeah, let's see.
5 minutes later.
Yes! You just never know. I learned that in Ireland. Well, I got it confirmed in Ireland not long ago. And yeah, it didn't look good for this evening here, but the sun came out, threw in the shadows and the light exactly into the scene as I hoped for. And kind of the irony is that there were 2 other photographers here and they packed up like 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago and headed home. And I was like, stay, you never know. And rightly so, the clouds moved, the sun came out and boom, light happened. So the sun is just like really out now and backlighting the entire scene, which looks beautiful. Now the trees right now are actually in shadow. However, there's so much spider webs on the fields in front that are now being backlit. And I even have like deer running over the field. So I get both the trees, I get it all backlit with those really fascinating spider webs and deer in the scene, which just looks absolutely gorgeous. Very, very idyllic. I did not see that coming, and that's one of the things that I just love. Like, you go to a landscape photography location because it's kind of famous, you get the shot, and then you start getting other photos that are equally cool and different. Stuff that you haven't seen before, stuff that you haven't realized was actually possible, but you recognize, hey, that's a cool shot, let me get it. So for most of these photos, I actually just expose to the right, so they're quite bright to begin with, and then I bring down the brightness and add a lot of contrast and maybe a little bit of glow. And if you want to learn how I edit my photos, be sure to enroll in my big Photoshop for Landscape Photographers post-processing course. I've made the course so it is an easy introduction to using Photoshop too. Because after all, Photoshop is still the most powerful photo editing software on the market. If you're in doubt about whether the course is something for you, I have a 15 days money back guarantee, but you can also just read the quotes of some of the people who have already enrolled in the course. They are on the front page of the course, and of course also be sure to read the frequently asked questions down in the bottom. There is a discount code down in the description of the video along with a link to enroll in the course. So good morning, I've come to this beautiful little super romantic composition. Hill on a mill, hill on a mill, mill on a hill, and then a little town underneath. Beautiful dynamic landscape, even so good that you actually don't have to include the horizon line, but you can get the entire scene within the frame and still have a lot to look at. Now, it has been a little bit hard to compose. I've tried different angles for this one here, and some of them I didn't like that much. And then there's this one here that I've settled on, which is basically just at the road where you park, is the one I actually prefer for this morning. This specific scene is probably best at sunset. However, it's our last morning, so I have to go here at sunrise. And I think you can benefit from some morning mist, morning fog in this composition, even though I'm not really getting that so much this morning. So it's a little bit like, yeah, well, there should be a benefit to being local. You can't have me driving 1,000 kilometers to get down and just nail the shot, right? You should be able to come back and then improve the shot again and again and again. But I do think I found my favorite composition of this scene right here without actually knowing the entire landscape. If you want to learn more about composition, be sure to get my 2 ebooks. If you want to learn more about editing, be sure to enroll in my big Photoshop for landscape photographers post-processing course. Remember to use the coupon code to get your discount. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this video from the Czech Republic. A little extra thing, I did not plan that. And see you next time, which will be in Slovenia.